The Acer Switch 3 is a very interesting Windows tablet. While it does offer a very similar design to Microsoft Surface Series, it's also a lot cheaper at around $460. Its highlights are a 12-inch screen, a keyboard cover, and an optional stylus. Inside runs an Intel Apollo-like chipset, which is noticeably faster than the Atom X5 of most cheaper Windows tablets. How good is the Acer Switch 3 really? That's what you will find out in this review. The design of the Acer Switch 3 is very similar to the one of the Switch Alpha 12 from last year. As you might expect, at this price point the build quality is not as high-end as on a Surface Pro. In fact, if you use a bit of force you are able to bend it just a bit. But still, at this price the quality is pretty good. On the back is an integrated kickstand, and with this one you can angle the tablet down, which works very nicely. The mechanism is smooth as well. Actually, the build quality of the kickstand is excellent. It's made out of metal and feels very stable. Acer is giving us most of the important connectors we need. On the right side are all the ports, including a USB Type-C 3.1 port and a full-size USB 3.0 connector. In case you want to expand the storage a bit, there's a micro SD card slot as well. We're also getting a standard 3.5mm audio jack. You're not charging the tablet via the Type-C port, instead there's a separate plug for the charger. It's not bad though, because the power plug is relatively small. On the front is a 2MP webcam, and on the back is another camera with a resolution of 5MP. If you've guessed that the quality is not the best, then you're right. Most Android tablets at this price have a much better camera, but well, it's certainly fine for Skype. Above the display are two front-facing speakers. They're loud enough, but again they're not the best speakers. I thought they are fine for listening to some music or watching YouTube though. The Acer Switch 3 has a 12.1-inch display with an aspect ratio of 16:10. It's an IPS panel with a Full HD resolution at 1920x1200. Obviously the Surface Pro and other high-end Windows tablets offer a higher resolution, but still I think that Full HD is fine. Actually, the quality is quite good for a Windows tablet in this price range. Colors look nice and the viewing angles are decent too. It's definitely bright enough. If you're working outside in direct sunlight, you are still able to see a bit. Well, not too much though. Compared with the 2017 iPad, the display of the Switch 3 is much darker. By the way, you can use an active pen with this tablet as well. The stylus is called Acer Active Pen and supports 1024 pressure points. I haven't tried it, so I can't say anything else about it. Inside my review unit runs an Intel Pentium N4200 quad-core processor. This is an Apollo-like chipset with 4 cores clocked at 1.1 GHz. In turbo boost they can go up to 2.5 GHz. Acer is also offering a version with an Intel N4200. This is a bit weaker dual-core chip. We are also getting 4GB of RAM and an internal storage with a capacity of 64GB. That's fine if you don't need to store a lot of data locally, otherwise you will have to connect an external hard drive or use the micro SD card slot. The Intel N4200 is not as powerful as the Core M3, but it is noticeably more powerful than the Intel Atom X5, the 8350 that we see in most cheaper Windows tablets. Competitors with the Atom X5 are the Lenovo Mix 320 and the Asus Transformer Mini, for example. During my review I was able to surf the web and work with Microsoft Word without any problems. Actually, for that the Switch 3 is excellent. I was even able to do some light multitasking without any lagging or stuttering. Even though the Switch 3 is not meant to replace a high-end notebook, I did use Photoshop for editing pictures and Cyberlink's Power Director to edit videos. With Photoshop I edited 24MP RAW files out of my camera. That did work surprisingly well. If you've got several documents open or are working with a lot of layers, then Photoshop will slow down though. I also edited a couple of videos with Power Director. This app runs on lower-end devices as well, but with the N4200 it works a lot smoother compared to an Atom. It took the tablet 8 minutes to render an 60-minute Full HD video with activated Intel QuickSync. An Atom tablet is noticeably slower. On the other hand, a Core i5 is noticeably faster as well. Yes, if you're getting the Acer Switch 3, then you're probably not getting it as a gaming tablet, but you will be able to play more simple games with this. In fact, I was able to play Mortal Kombat 5 without any lagging. In my benchmark tests, the tablet performs as you might expect from a device like this. In Geekbench 4 it gets 1510 and 4575 points. Using Cinebench R15, the Switch 3 gets 16.61 frames per second in the OpenGL test. If you want to work with this tablet, then you will probably need a keyboard cover. This one is included with the tablet. Like with most competitors, the keyboard cover resembles the type cover from Microsoft quite heavily, but that's a good thing. In fact, I really enjoyed using this keyboard cover. Acer did a good job here. The keyboard cover has a magnetic bar, so you can angle it up a bit. That makes it more comfortable to type. I did type a lot with this keyboard, and I could use it as well as with the one from my much more expensive notebook. I do have two negative points though. Sadly, the keyboard does not have any background light. If it did, it would have been a nearly perfect keyboard. It's also not that easy to clean. By the way, there is an integrated touchpad as well. It's not that big, but it's alright. I didn't have any issues when using it, but it could be a bit bigger. On the Acer Switch 3 runs standard Windows 10. So you will be able to install apps from the Windows Store, but also classic desktop apps. The operating system runs and works exactly like on your Windows notebook or desktop PC, so I don't believe to explain or show too much here. In case you've never used the Windows tablet before, there are a couple of touch-specific features built into Windows 10. For example, if you are using the device without a keyboard, you can switch into the so-called tablet mode. In this mode, it's a bit easier to use Windows using your fingers only. Once the tablet mode is activated, the start menu transforms into a start screen that looks like the one from Windows 8 or 8.1. Another change is that apps are usually opened full screen. Using gestures, you can open two apps side by side very easily though. There's also an on-screen keyboard in case you're using it without the keyboard cover. Well, as I said, it's standard Windows 10. By the way, compared to Android, there's a huge advantage. Updates are delivered directly by Microsoft and not by the manufacturer, so you won't have to wait for updates at all. Let's take a look at the battery life. This is a major disadvantage of most Windows tablets, and the Acer Switch 3 is not different. The battery has a capacity of 4670 mAh. In my battery test, it lasted for a runtime of 6 hours and 25 minutes. As usual, I'm always doing the same battery test. I'm running an HD video over and over again at 50% brightness and activated Wi-Fi. During my everyday use, the tablet didn't get the best results either. Like with all of my reviews, I did write down a kind of battery diary. I got a runtime of 8 hours and 40 minutes in total. Out of those, I used the Switch 3 actively for just over 4 hours. The brightness varied between 50 and 100%. Mostly I surfed the web, typed using Word and watched some YouTube. So, is the Acer Switch 3 a good tablet? After I was kind of disappointed by the last Atom X5 tablets I reviewed, I like this a lot more. In fact, I really enjoyed working with it. The keyboard cover is very good, the build quality is solid at this price point, and the display is very usable as well. Obviously, if you plan to use apps like Photoshop all the time, maybe even as part of your job, then you might want to look at something more powerful. But it is certainly usable now and then. The performance is very good for office work and some good amount of multitasking as well. The only major disadvantage for me is the battery life. It won't last you a whole working day. Sadly, that's the case with most competitors and even with a lot of notebooks. Alright, this is my review of the Acer Switch 3. If you have any questions, please write them down below. I'm NJ from mynexttablet.com. Thanks for watching.